We live in a world today that you have to watch out for you. And while you're shopping online, clicking around, looking for anything and everything that you can find for the lowest price, you're gonna get scammed. Yeah, it's a scam. And as odd as it may sound, I'm doing this because I care. I want to teach you what to look for on a pressure washer before you even turn it on to see if it's going to meet up to your standards. I'll also turn this unit on and prove to you again that this is not what they're advertising it as. And then we'll look at some other machines out there that are probably designed better and going to give you more of what you're looking for. Stay tuned. So your significant other said you had to clean the deck and you really don't want to put that gas pressure washer in your garage and only use it once a year. I get it. So you're looking at electric. And when you see this 3,800 PSI, 2.8 gallon per minute pressure washer there, you get excited and say, hey, it's only $139. That's it. Put the Doritos down for a second and think about this. There's nothing else out there that is this PSI. Most electric pressure washers stop at 2,000 to 2,300 PSI, and above that, it's just plain a lie. There's simply so much power that can come out of a 110 outlet, go through this cord and into this motor to push out the pressure and GPM needed. And that's why gas motors take over, because they are a higher horsepower and can start to give us the amount of torque and energy needed to get that higher amount of pressure. So if you're looking for something that is crazy out there, like what this is rated, it's simply a unicorn. You're never gonna find it. My tip of the day, anytime you see the word max out here, know that it's never gonna happen, ever. So on this unit, 2.8 GPM max, they're already starting to disappoint and said, oh no, 2.6 GPM is where it's gonna be at. They said 3,800 PSI max, and oh no, it's actually gonna be 3,000 PSI, but we're gonna do it with a 2,000 watt motor. Here's where we hit Google. 2,000 watt motor is gonna take 16.67 amps in order to be fully usable. We look at this GFCI plug. It's rated at 15 amps right here. That's the most we can pull through it. Now even worse, we look at the bottom. For 16 gauge wire, which is what is on this, and I'll show you in a second. This is rated at 1,560 watts max. So there's no way that you could pull any more than 1,560 watts through this in a continuous basis. Next, we look at the hose. See, it's rated at 18 MPa. Pull out your phone again, do some Googling. That is going to limit us here to 2,600 PSI going through this hose. But wait a minute. Wouldn't it be dangerous for us to put 3,800 PSI through a hose that's rated at 2,600? While we live in the land of the free, this came from China. We have regulations. I'm not sure exactly what they have. So let's go take this over in the other room, hook it up, and I'll show you what it'll actually do. Gallons per minute is a very simple test. We'll turn on this unit. We have the 0 degree tip, put it in the bucket. At the end of 1 minute, we'll see how many gallons are in the bucket. Let's go. So after 60 seconds, you can see we are less than 1.5 gallons of water inside this. There are 3 other marks here. Those are from the other pressure washers that we have tested before that have claimed these crazy numbers. This is definitely not even close to 2.6 gallons per minute. In fact, we're not even halfway there. We would normally check pressure with a gauge like this, but these quick connect fittings are not going to fit on our Chinese one-off pressure washer hose. So we're going to ask you to be a reasonable person and go with us on this test. We're going to take another pressure washer that's rated at 2,000 PSI, put it up against this one on a wood test just to see what will happen. We'll write a K with the Kepma and a G with the Greenworks. So looking at this as a reasonable person, you can see the grain where we put the K was a little bit more open. There's some parts where we got in the softwood area. Same with what happened when we made the G, although you can see where it's really hard here and here, there was nothing that was really indented or done to the wood. The K is actually fairly deep and through. When we go over to the G, Anywhere where we don't have the hardwood again, we are at about the same depth. So realistically, there is no difference between the 3,800 PSI pressure washer and the more reasonable 2,000 PSI pressure washer. If you're wondering why the bloody knuckle, that came from this guy right here while I was removing the water hose from the connection. It's simply too tight. There's no room to get your hand in there and to get a good grip. Took a little bit of skin off, no big deal, but that just tells you more of what to look for when you're looking at an electric pressure washer. I can tell you the idea of this hose reel up top is absolutely awesome. Downside to it, when you pick up this guy and you move around, all the pressure that you are putting on this hose when you pull comes from the top. Guess what happens with that leverage? It falls over all the time. That is just simply a poor place to have the hose reel. Beyond that, you can see what the hose is. It's dang near PVC pipe. And if you were to actually try to use this and to reel up the hose, you'll find that it's not that enjoyable and it actually sucks. If you're looking for something, try to find something that has more of a fabric type hose on it. Something that doesn't kink, but yet moves around. And yes, this hose still has all the twists in it. That's because it was wound up nicely and stored correctly. But this hose is going to give us a lot more freedom. And if we pull on this hose, you can just see by the design, we're not pulling this unit over. So when you're looking at a pressure washer, try to find something that is going to be easy to move around, where all the weight is near the bottom. And when you're moving it and pulling on it, that it's not going to flip itself over on its side. And while I can't prove it to you on this video, these cheap Amazon pressure washers, they don't last long. And worse than that, they have a great warranty. Unfortunately, usually the people that are selling them are long gone and out of business. So when you try to contact them for the warranty, they either A, won't understand that you're speaking English and won't respond, or two, they're simply gone. So you have no recourse once you've purchased this and it stopped working. You might get one use, you might get 10. That's about all you're gonna get. So I'm gonna recommend that you go to your local store, maybe a big box store, maybe a hardware store. Buy something from there, something where you can return, something you can shake the guy's hand when you leave and say, hey, I hope this works. And if it doesn't, you can go back and they'll take care of you. So even if this hunk of junk behind me would have actually made you happy at $135, don't buy it. Don't support tool companies who are gonna lie to you, flat out. Just don't buy their stuff and maybe they'll go away. That's our one recourse that we have to get this back on the right path and have people who will tell us the truth about what's going on with their tools. As always, guys, give us a like in this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.